Hi, this is Dr. Roos. I just want to make a quick video, mainly to explain the differences between the lecture or class versus the lab. Sometimes students have a problem with that, understanding that concept. If you haven't had a course before that had a lab associated with, if you've already seen a video on that, well then there might be some things I'll mention that are important at the beginning of the semester, so you can still listen if you'd like. Now, what I did is I'm making this for the fall 2024 semester, and so this is on this side, the right side, left side rather, is the class website for one of the courses I'm doing. You can be either in a Tuesday class or you can be in a Wednesday class. This is the Wednesday class. The Tuesday class is 402Y, but it'll have the same it'll look the same way. If you're taking this in the spring, then I teach one section of the class during the spring and then usually 2 labs. Now over on the right side, this is one of the lab sections. There's going to be 4, maybe 5 sections of lab in the fall, and there might be just 2 in the spring. It depends. Right, but you're only going to go to one of those sections. Whatever it says on your schedule is the day you go. Right, and the lab doesn't meet where the class meets. There's a classroom that we meet in building 6C. Right, it's the only classroom in building 6C. And then in building 5, or the science building, on the second floor, it's room 210. This is where the biology lab is, and we meet there once a week as well. Lab attendance is mandatory, right? If you miss more than 2 labs, then you receive an F for this course, which includes the lab and a lecture. That's 4 credits. So I want to make that clear now. If you don't intend on attending the lab for whatever reason, just don't take this course, right? There's a survey of biology course you can take that doesn't include a lab. Go take that course. And then this is the video. I had an older video of this. This video you're watching will replace this, mentioning this. And what I'll do in the lecture is every week what I do, I will have what I plan to do for that class, so that in case you don't come to class, see, there's really no attendance for class requirement. But anyway, so every week there'll be an announcement there, and then the lab will have a weekly it meets weekly as well, and there'll be, instead of by date, I'll just be putting lab 1, lab 2, lab 3, lab 4. There's 10 labs altogether. If you go to the lab schedule, it explains it. But so this lab 1, you need to come, and then it tells you the handouts you need to bring. If you click on these links, it'll take you to the content section where you find all the handouts that we use. So you don't need to buy a lab manual. Okay. And now, right, so there's a content section for the lab, and then there's a content section for the class, right? All of this stuff is what I'm going to be doing in the class. In the lab, we'll be using, there's 2 lab PowerPoints, whereas for class, I have chapter PowerPoints. But there's 2 big exams in lab. One's called Practical 1, the other one's called Practical 2. So that's where you find that. I do have like videos for all the labs, and then all the handouts that you'll need to print. And in each announcement, it'll tell you which handout to bring to lab, right? I usually link these in the class announcements too, like for class. I linked the chapter 1 video to watch covering chapter 1 PowerPoint. And we changed something a little bit up too now. There's a syllabus. If you click up here on the top, that's where you find the syllabus. It takes you to it's a website, right? And then there's a syllabus for lab as well. So it's a little different. We started doing this a year ago. There's not too much difference between what we have, in the lab syllabus versus the class syllabus. It's very similar, but it breaks down the points. Right here in lab, you have 4 quizzes worth 20 points. you have 16 quizzes in class that are online. They're worth 10 points. The ones you take in lab aren't online. The practicals aren't online. All 5 exams are online. So anyway, I just want you to be familiar. You don't need to worry about buying the textbook. Most of my students don't buy textbooks. So don't worry about that. And I try to explain, I don't know how, no labs the first week, right there, it's that announcement. So we start September 3rd if you have a lab on a Tuesday, or September 4th if you have a lab on a Wednesday. If you're taking this in the spring semester, right, just ignore these dates that I have. But everything else will pertain. So anyway, I break down the 2 sections of class, 2 lab sections. I don't like to refer to lab as a class, so you don't confuse the 2 or whatever, right? I like to always think about the lab as, we're having a lab. If it's a lecture or class, or call it a class or lecture, to help you to make that distinction. Okay, you won't be taking any quizzes. All the quizzes in lab will be in person, so that's another difference. But anyway, you should, as long as you're reading these weekly announcements, whether it's for lab or for class, and you're showing up, you got to show up for lab. You shouldn't have too much problems doing well in my class. So anyway, that's it for this video.